I'm gonna try this one with AirPods. Yes, I've got AirPods. Anyways, I am trying to get back to YouTube slowly but surely. I am trying not to care, to do something more natural and talk about subjects that I really want to talk about, etc. Although I'm like a perfectionist and it's like super hard for me to not do something that if it's like super freaking perfect. But give me credit for the fact that I am trying, okay? I am trying. Anyways, so today's subject is kind of touchy because I was preparing the things that I would say, like my notes and everything, and I was like, oh my god, like this is kind of serious. This is like very serious. And when it gets to like actual subjects, I have this tendency to like humorize things, like, you know, to make it funny. Which is something I talked to my therapist about. No need to get back at it. She knows, I know, we know. Okay. So, and I'm gonna try to like not, you know, censorize myself, if that's a word. It's like just being myself. I'm not gonna try to edit out anything. That's a challenge, okay? But I am trying to just be myself and talk about something heartfelt or not at times, but just being, you know, me, kind of, on the internet. What a crazy idea. But let's go with that. And yes, I have a pencil and a notebook. Anyways, so today's subject is a feeling that I've always kind of felt, but it just gets more emphasized the more I am growing older. Just to put you in context, I'm 23. And it's the fact that I've always felt like I missed out on being a child. Like I do have certain memories of me being a kid, just like playing outside and everything, but it's not as, you know, as present as other people, especially that I grew up in North Africa. So it's like everybody before being 6 years old, like everybody was just like outside in the mud and everything. I had a very different education, let's say, in contrast to people who live in North Africa, generally speaking, because my mom was always like a very scared woman for her kids. Like she was always very like overprotective, etc. And my dad was also someone that really wanted to kind of like fast start our education in some way, at least me, because I'm their first, you know. So I started studies. I mean, I started school technically. I found myself between four walls for the first time in my life when I was 2 years old. And it never stopped since then, okay? I am 23. So, you know, cuckoo has a reason. So I started it started when I was 2. So it's always like, I've always felt this feeling where I never really had this like childhood, you know? I had times, but it was always like, it's a weekend and I'm gonna go back to school or something, you know? It's like, I've never had a year gap in childhood where it's just like being a child, you know? Which is insane. It honestly, it's kind of crazy, you know? So yeah, this is what it was for me, I'd say. So in my notes, I kind of wanted to categorize things, let's say. So I think the first thing that being missing out on your childhood feels like is when they give you responsibility before your age. It's like you feel you're more responsible for like other people and you're more responsible for yourself, for like really adult core chores, you know? It's like cooking, teaching yourself, doing maybe like, you know, folding the laundry, like just like chores that you maybe were supposed to be taken care of, you find yourself taking care of other people doing it, you know, like giving you responsibility, and also the mental responsibility, you know. It's always like, oh, this child, and most of the time it's like the oldest child. It's like, yeah, my oldest child is like so mature, I feel like I can talk to them about anything. And so like the parents, the adults, they start just like trauma bumping you, you know, when you didn't really, first of all, you didn't ask for it. Second of all, they shouldn't. Okay, you're a kid, your brain is not developed yet for you to comprehend huge concepts like, I don't know, cheating, or other things that are very, you know, big and scary and enormous. I mean, let alone the fact that they count on you to make a decision, where they're like, oh, I mean, you're like 7-year-old and your mom comes at you and she's like, oh, what do you think? Should I leave your dad? This is insane. Like, of course you cannot count on a 7-year-old telling you what they want. At that very moment, maybe they really want a chocolate cake that their dad didn't want to give them. So they'll be like, yeah, divorce him. Leave that man where he is, babes. So it's like, it's insane. And I remember I wasn't given this much power, let's say, but still, like, to be asked if I had any opinion on adult matter is insane. And now that I look back at it, it's one of the major things, you know. It's like you take responsibility, especially if you have like siblings that are, you know, younger than you. You're always like the second mother or the second dad if you're a boy, and it leaves a scar. It definitely like leaves something inside of you, because we're gonna talk about how it is in adulthood, but it leaves a very specific scar that we're gonna talk about. So after that, we also have kind of the emotional neglect and instability, because once again, when an adult sees a kid that is so responsible, they're like so mature, they understand things, it's like that kid does not need me that much, you know, like they can take care of themselves. I need to take care of other things, you know. That kid is okay, that kid is capable, which is totally not true. Okay, no matter how mature a kid is, he is not able to be as mature as you are as an adult. First, second, you're the parent, you still have to be nurturing. Even if the kid is very mature and they want to be perceived as such, and they want to be like, I don't need anybody, I don't need anything, you have to understand that they are trying to build a wall, and you need to go and start to demolish slowly but surely, and with the kindness of the world, that wall. You'd be like, I understand that you've been through this and you've been through that as a kid. I am sorry, you shouldn't. And I understand that you feel like you're mature and everything, but I'm still your parent. And I still want you to feel like you can be a kid and live your life, you know? One other thing, this one I struggled with. When I was a kid, I didn't know how to play. I don't know how to play, you know? I used to see kids. It took me time. I would like know how to imitate and mimic people playing, like kids playing at my grandma's house. But at the beginning, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to like be in a social place if it's not like encapsulated in an academic setting, for example, you know. For me, playing is like after doing something that is, you know, like how to say this, intellectually very draining, and then I deserve to play. You know, for me, just playing is insane. It was insane. So you don't, as a kid, you don't know how to play. It's like you have no idea how to enjoy yourself. You have no idea how to do that, you know? Because if you have a parent that is always like seeing you in a certain way where you're like mature and everything, if you start being kind of like, you know, kind of weird, funny, or a little bit too joyful, they're gonna point it out. They're gonna be like, oh, that's weird, why are you being like that? Like kind of shaming you in a way. So you feel you cringe on yourself, so you bottle up and you don't know what to do anymore, you know? And so when you go out with other kids who didn't have the same, you know, background as you, they just very natural about themselves. You don't know how to do it. Like, you don't know how to human with them. You know what I mean? You don't know how to be a kid. You don't know how to play. So this is something I definitely struggled with. And I am sure like a lot of people did struggle with too, because you have no idea. I mean, they didn't give you a manual how to be a kid. For you, it's like, I am making these decisions and I am feeling like I am an adult because they're making me feel like I am one. So it's very weird, and you start to feel this like big difference between you and the other kids, you know? You feel like they're immature. Like, why are you doing this? And you start judging them inside of yourself, being like, I would never. I am so educated and I am so awesome. Which is okay. Like, there are pros for being educated and etc. But there are also other stuff where it's like they're just being kids and you're not, okay? You're supposed to be a kid at this point. For you to not be a kid when you're in your 30s or 40s. Yeah. So I don't know, the fourth point or the fifth is you're always in survival mode. You're always fearing what's coming next. There's this thing that I had to get over with when I moved out. It's the fact that every time I have a period of time that is happy, for me it's just like a moment where life is preparing me for something even harder, you know? For me, like, happiness is, a moment of happiness is just a preparation, or like a, how to say that, a break time for me to be prepared to something that is even worse than what I've been through. Which is insane, because as a kid, you learn survival mode. It's like, if right now I am happy and I am safe in this environment and everything, and especially if you have like very unstable parents, you're always like, I know this is just like we say in French, le beau temps avant la tempête. Yes, not la tempête après le bon temps. Like, seriously, it feels like it's just the good weather before the freaking storm. So I need to be ready, you know? And it's always on survival mode, you know? You're scared of what's gonna come next. It's like you're never really present in the moment. You're never really here, you know? You're spending in time, but you're always thinking about, okay, what's next? Okay, what's after that? Okay, what's gonna happen after this? And it's very scary. It's like you're always living in this draining thing, and it stops you from everything because you just want to rest all the time. Your body is in alarm, your brain is. So the free time that you have, you don't even have time to go and enjoy yourself or anything. You just want to rest, you know? Would it be bed rotting or just doom scrolling or anything? But you just want to sit there and do nothing because you're scared of what's next. Yeah, unfortunately. So, how would it affect adulthood? I think I've covered some of it while talking about childhood, but it's, for me, like I said in the beginning, it's always been this feeling of like, I skipped something. I genuinely skipped something, and this, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the feeling of I never really allowed myself, or I allow it, but then it's like not natural, but I allow it, of being taken care of, you know, like somebody taking care of me, let alone spoil me, okay? But someone just taking care of me, it's like, what are you doing? No, thank you. But it's just that this feeling of like it's always like you're jungling between two things. You really want that, but you don't know what that is. So you really like, you feel uncomfortable when you get into that situation. But at the same time, you're really longing to that. Just being a kid again, you know? Not doing nothing. And I've seen that a lot on social media, like on Instagram and everything, where people, they're sharing like maybe songs, or maybe like a video, or maybe just like pictures of what it looked like to be a kid in the early 20s, and they're like, oh my god, nostalgia, oh my god, we just woke up and the world became gray, and etc, etc, and like people just like really miss that. And I totally relate to that, because I feel like in those moments there was a period where I did enjoy it, and then at some point I couldn't anymore, because I had to be like mature enough for certain situations that happen. And it's just like, I wish I could get back, you know? I wish I could just spend the summer not doing nothing and just sitting and just binge watching DVDs and just waiting for my mom to pick a car and for us to just go on side quests. And I know nothing, I don't care about anything, I don't know anything, I don't even know where we're going when we're on a car, you know? So it's like, but at the same time, if you tell me that, okay, now I can do that to you, like, okay, let's do that, I would freak out, because I would think about so many possibilities. I'd be like, I can't leave my career, I can't do this, I can't do that, and oh, it doesn't make sense, and I'm 23, and if I do this, I'm gonna lose time, and it's, fucking, just. But really, it's a very complicated, like, mental gymnastics that happen in your brain. And it's very tiring, because you're like always in between these two things. And I know like a lot of people feel this. It's impossible that I'm the only person. And this is why I make this video, why I'm gonna be making these videos, because it's impossible that everything that I am going through, I'm going through alone. I don't think so. And I know I'm gonna find the people who understand that. They're gonna analyze that in the comment sections, and we have a conversation about this, because yeah, I think we need to tell our parents that we're very tired and we need a break. I mean, we really do. So the two things that I wrote are very, very relevant. Struggling with self-care, and also guilt around resting and having fun. Struggling with self-care makes a lot of sense if you are someone who has been mature and responsible for others. You have no idea how to take care of yourself really when you find yourself alone. It's like this thing that happens to you when you find yourself alone. You're nobody's sister, brother, daughter, maybe mom, I don't know, like you're nobody's anything. It's just you. And you have this thing that happens. It's like decision freeze. Like you have no idea how to make decisions anymore at all. I remember I was like waking up in the morning and I feel paralyzed. It's like I don't know, you know? It's just like I have no idea what I like, what I don't. I don't know how to go buy groceries. I don't know how to do laundry. It's just like my brain completely stopped in a split of months, and I was like, I don't really know how to function if it's just me, you know? I don't know how to take care of myself, because it was my whole personality was about taking care of others. And along the way, I am surviving, you know? It's like I am taking care of other people. I am the support system for this friend, for this best friend, for this family member, for my sisters, for my mom, for my brother, and then boom, it's just me and the mirror. And that's all I have. And let me tell you, that mirror was broken, shattered, you know? I had no idea how to put the pieces back again. I'm not talking in a pedestal where it's like, oh, I got it all figured out, so let me just tell you how it works. I do not have a miracle recipe. I just go for it, you know? I just don't cope with it with coping mechanisms that hurt my body or my health overall. I just go with the feelings and I try to find out how. Therapy, yoga, meditation, writing, anything, you know? I still don't know, and which is totally normal. I'm 23, and even if I am gonna be 43, I probably would be discovering, even if I have kids, I'm discovering myself, you know? But I think it's important to talk about it, you know? It's important for us to find this like kind of like safe space where we talk about things like this. And it is so far from just being like kind of blaming parents or society or whatever. We know, okay? We know it's kids and adults, like it's kind of obvious, you know? But at the same time, just like I said, I could be 43 and I have kids and I could be making mistakes, and my kid is gonna feel like he missed out on his childhood because I did this and this and that and didn't do this and this and that. So it's like, yes, we get it. And probably most of the parents who are like North Africans or like, you know, Indians or maybe like people from the Middle East, parents from the Middle East, I know they don't really take accountability, but that's fine. That's totally okay. You need to do the healing because you don't need to have a closure for you to do the healing, you know? My God, I am very prepared because I said everything that I wrote. But yeah, it's basically for you to unlearn the patterns. We always talk about breaking the cycle and everything. Yeah, but that's hard, okay? That's hard. It's very hard. You're everybody out here. I'm breaking the cycle. I'm breaking the general curse and everything. How are you? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, babes? What is this? You know, what is that? And I think the first thing about that is to completely understand and have compassion. You need to have compassion overall, okay? But you have to have compassion for the people who raised us. Because they also broke, in their little brain, cute brain, they broke cycles and curses. But their level, okay? With their material, with everything that was allowed for them to have. And we might have more material than them, so okay, we're gonna do the work, okay? I'm gonna talk as a woman. When you tell me breaking the cycle, curses, blah, 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 blah. Girl, to do that, first of all, have an income. It could be anything. Anything. Your own income, okay? You have to have your own income. You have to try and be independent from your caregivers or your husband, if you have a husband, which is, I don't know, I just can't imagine people my age being married, but they do, which is okay, good, your husband, okay? But to break the general cycles is to also speak up for yourself, say the truth, okay? Like, don't be just sitting there and I'm gonna say it, but you watching TikTok all day in your house after you finish your studies, not doing anything, and then boom, 2 years went by. This is not breaking the whatever cycle, okay? No, it's not. Maybe it's your timing. Maybe you need that. Good, but don't say that this is breaking it. Because there are other people doing the very hard work. People are having now kids and they're being faced with that. They have to do it. They have to do the job. They have to do the work. Because they wake up one day and they find themselves saying exactly what their mom said to them. And they don't want that, okay? Some people left their countries. Some people left their cities. Some people left their hometowns. They lived alone. They found themselves not having food, not having a job, not having this, going to work an hour away. Like, this is breaking general curses. You need to, here's the thing. For you to say that, you need first to write a chart of what is this generational curse, okay? And then, right next to it, a chart of the exact opposite of it, okay? My family was very bad with finances. I'm gonna be very clever with my finances and know how to do side hustles. Okay. My family was absolutely emotionally unavailable. I'm gonna work on myself to be emotionally available. And so on and so forth. Okay. This is how you heal also your childhood. Okay. I said it. You first start with compassion. With yourself, with your family, with your dad, with your mom, okay? You need to understand that they had their own life too. They were kids like us too, okay? They were teens like us too. And they thought they were doing the best, okay? They did, except for the very abusive, blah, blah, blah. Duh, okay? But for you to heal, for example, from this one specific aspect, which is missing out on your childhood, you need to make peace with yourself to relearn. How does baby girl love herself? I hate the term baby girl, but whatever. How does he or she, because yes, men are allowed here. So how do you see yourself being safe, being taken care of, you know? How do you do that for yourself, you know? How do you spend your weekends? This is exactly what it is for you to catch up on that childhood, okay? Now, hear me out. There are people that do feel this need to be back at being children, but it's in a very unhealthy way, okay? And we call that the Peter Pan archetype, which is like you could find someone who's like in their 40s or 30s, but they still act like a kid, which is probably the fact that they missed out on their childhood, so they do not want to grow up. They refuse this whole concept of being an adult because they're scared of it, they don't like it, they're afraid, and they want to get back to being a kid because when they were a kid, they were forced to be an adult. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you start from now, if you're in your 20s or late teens, you can definitely get there, okay? If you have parents who can at least listen to you, you can have these conversations with them. Don't go with the attacking, go with the conversation, okay? Go with the conversation of like, oh, I heard this, what do you think about it? You can show them this video if you want, and you maybe start talking about this last part. My phone died. So anyways, just to like close it, yeah, I think this is pretty much it. To close it, I just want to say that you did not choose your childhood, but you can choose your life now. And that's all that matters, honestly. It is all that matters. And I personally, really, I get it. I know. I totally get it. And that little child you were definitely deserves to live their childhood. And you're probably now the person they needed because you have much more understanding. You have much more compassion. You're more educated about everything. And that child is still, you know, inside of you. And now you can make choices to make him or her happy and proud, you know? So yeah, now you can start fresh. Now this is your life, you know? Nobody's choosing for you anymore. Or I hope you get there, okay? All right, I think this is pretty much it for today, for now. I really want to know if you have this feeling too. How do you deal with it? And why do you think, I mean, where does it come from your end? Because I kind of told you how it was in my background, and that's pretty much why I feel this way. But how about you, okay? I really want to know if this feeling is general. And how do people deal with the fact that they feel like they missed out on their childhood? Yeah. Okay, so take care of yourself. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. It's been a pleasure doing it in my little kitchen, as you can see. So yeah, bye.